Hello YouTubers, it's me, Michael Brewer, reporting to you from high in the Swiss Alps. I'm up about as far as I can get today in the Italian Swiss Alps. I don't know, about 2,000 meters. And behind me you see this really spectacular range of mountains. And I thought this was a great place to report to you about from this really high perspective. Welcome to the new paradigm. That's right. We're amidst a paradigm shift unknown before in human history. It began, well, probably began back in the late 80s when the Soviet Union fell apart against all expectations and against all the propaganda we were fed. And what we are seeing now in recent days with the collapse of the financial system, the crisis, credit crunch, and all that, is the collapse of the capitalistic system. You see, the two were opposed to one another, and they needed one another, communism and capitalism, to support. And when communism fell, capitalism just ran out of control and is now falling of its own weight. It's like a house of cards collapsing because it's basically built on air. Derivative products, financial products that are based on speculation whether a certain stock value will go up or down, and then products traded upon those products and upon those products and derived from those products up until the point where you're basically, I don't even think the traders knew what they were trading anymore. And so when one of those basic supports failed and the banks lost trust in one another in the collapse of Lehman Brothers, the whole house of cards began to fall down upon itself. And now, rather than capitalism, what we're getting is state nationalism of these assets, of these banks, of the whole wealth creation and credit creation machine by governments, including the USA, which was really the bastion of free market capitalism, also England. And so we're seeing a really, really big shift now. And unless you are one of those lucky few that have millions and millions and millions of dollars to invest in these sort of things, it probably isn't going to affect you directly, though this whole climate of fear that has arisen as a result of this implosion of the financial system does affect everyone. Everyone's running around afraid that the old system just isn't going to work. And guess what? It doesn't, and it won't. And things are changing. And you know what? This is not bad news. Look at the system as it was. It was based on a cutthroat sense of gaining wealth and greed for resources and materialism on an unprecedented scale, where the entire planet was being raped of its natural resources, and there was this incredible gulf between the very, very wealthy and the very, very poor. And I'm not saying that immediately it's going to now even out, but perhaps this gives us time to pause and rethink about these things. And as governments and nation states take on these capitalistic systems, already controls are being put into place onto the huge, actually extravagant and elaborate salaries that these top managers were making, and perhaps balancing the system out a bit. The new paradigm is coming. It's here now. The signs are happening. But unfortunately, it's going to be heralded by a series of similar type of collapses and implosions of the old system. Just no way around it. Now, think back in history and natural history when when all beings on the earth were aquatic. There was no being on the land. And the only reason that we probably developed, or the creatures developed to live on dry land at all, was because they were forced to. Perhaps the lake dried up, or an ocean dried up, or there was just not enough food in the ocean for some reason. And that's somehow how evolution seems to progress in all areas. We don't seem to want to change unless we're forced to. And so that's what's happening now. We're being forced to relook at our whole way of thinking, our whole way of being. This whole idea of instant gratification, of desires, of material desires, buying things on credit. owning way too many things that we just can't even take care of. Maybe it's a time to look within and reassess our values and what's important and our priorities. It doesn't cost anything to look within and work on yourself. It doesn't cost anything to just get out in nature and enjoy. It doesn't cost anything to be happy. In fact, you can be happy in any situation. In fact, if you go to third world, so-called third world countries, or underdeveloped, or whatever they condescendingly like to call them, countries that are not caught up in the capitalistic rat race, you'll tend to find that people seem to be a lot more happier, a lot more smiles. They're so satisfied with a lot less, happy with what they have, appreciative, grateful. And so maybe it's time for we in the West, as our capitalist system crumbles around us, instead of panicking around, running around, crying that the sky is falling, to reflect and think, what does this mean? This is an opportunity for all of us to shift into the new paradigm, to find a gentler, kinder way to make our livings, to find ways of living that does not damage Mother Earth, Gaia, to find ways of balancing what we do for work and what we do to live in our families in a healthier balance. And with ourselves, to make time for ourselves, make time for us to get out in nature and to explore ourselves within, to take care of ourselves physically and mentally and spiritually. So rather than worry and fret and believe all the tales of doom and gloom being spread in the media, let's celebrate, because the new era is upon us. We live in interesting times. We are the heralders of the new paradigm, and our children will inherit this new earth. It's going to happen no matter what we do. The system is out of whack and is now falling apart. It's up to us to decide whether we embrace this change and go with it and take this opportunity to grow within ourselves and become happier, healthier human beings and societies and families, or to fight it and to buy into the screaming media, the Cassandras of doom and gloom that are all through the media and through the politicians and through basically the messages being spread by those who bought most into the system and who are now suffering the greatest loss. We live in interesting times. Welcome to the new paradigm. Me, Michael Brewer, your gay guru, is going to be with you all through this change. And maybe right now I can sit here smiling and rejoicing in this. I'm sure that I too will feel the changes, and I can feel it happening now too. But somehow we'll get through this together, and we'll come out on the other side happier, healthier, better off. So, welcome to the new paradigm. Glad to have you along. Here's Michael Brewer, your gay guru, signing off from high in the southern Swiss Alps.